Long ago, when the land was still covered by an endless sea of forest, humans lived in small tribes at the very edge of the wilderness. Beyond that boundary stretched a vast forest, so thick and ancient that no one knew where it truly ended. The people called it the Blackwood. To outsiders, it was only a forest, but to those who lived beside it, the Blackwood was something else entirely. It was alive. The elders said the forest had memory, that it watched the creatures within it and punished those who broke its balance. For generations, the tribe hunted carefully, taking only what they needed: deer, boar, rabbits, just enough to survive the winter. They believed every animal had a spirit, and that the forest itself had a guardian. The elders spoke of a creature that almost no one had seen, a massive white stag. Its fur shone pale like morning mist, and its antlers spread wide like the branches of an ancient tree. Some hunters claimed they had glimpsed it deep in the forest, standing silently between the trees, watching them. But the most unsettling thing about the creature was its eyes. They were not the eyes of an animal. They were calm, ancient, and intelligent, as if the stag had lived for centuries and remembered every hunter who had ever stepped into the woods. The tribe called it the warden of the forest. No one was allowed to hunt it. Anyone who killed the white stag, the elders said, would be cursed by the forest itself. For many generations, the tribe respected that rule until Hale. Ethan was the strongest hunter the tribe had ever known. Tall, broad-shouldered, and frighteningly accurate with a bow. He could bring down a running deer from 50 meters away. But Ethan had something the others did not: ambition. While the other hunters took only what they needed, Ethan hunted constantly. He set traps everywhere. He killed deer, boar, wolves, even animals that were pregnant. His hut became filled with skins and bones. Antlers hung on the walls like trophies. The elders warned him many times. "Take less," they said. "The forest is not endless." Ethan always laughed. "The forest is huge," he replied. "It will never run out." But slowly, the forest began to change. The herds of deer became smaller. Birdsong faded from the trees. Sometimes entire days passed without seeing a single animal. Still, Ethan kept hunting. One cold morning, he followed a narrow stream deeper into the woods than he had ever gone before. The ground near the water was soft with mud, filled with animal tracks. Then he saw something unusual, a hoof print. It was clearly from a deer. But it was larger, much larger, and strangely elegant, as if carved into the earth. Ethan crouched down and touched it. Fresh, very fresh. His heart began to pound. The white stag. Instead of returning to warn the tribe, Ethan followed the tracks immediately. The trail led him deeper into the Blackwood, into a place where the trees grew enormous and twisted. Sunlight barely reached the ground. The forest here felt older, darker. For 2 days he tracked the creature. Finally, on the third afternoon, he stepped into a small clearing, and there it was. The white stag stood in the center of the clearing, perfectly still. Its coat glowed pale beneath the thin rays of sunlight filtering through the canopy. Its antlers were enormous, branching outward like skeletal trees. For a moment, Ethan simply stared. The creature was beautiful. But beauty meant nothing to him. Slowly, he raised his bow. He pulled the string back. The arrow flew. It struck the stag directly in the throat. The animal staggered but did not run. Instead, it turned its head and looked directly at him. Those eyes, there was no fear in them, no panic, only something deeper, something almost like sadness. Then the white stag collapsed. The moment its body touched the ground, the forest fell silent, completely silent. The wind stopped. Leaves stopped rustling. No birds sang. Ethan approached the body cautiously. He grabbed one of the enormous antlers and lifted the creature's head, admiring his prize. The instant his hand touched the antler, a freezing sensation ran through his spine. Then a voice echoed inside his mind, not a human voice, not an animal sound. It was something ancient, something vast. "You have killed the warden." Ethan spun around, but no one was there. The voice continued, "Now you will take its place. Blood began to flow from the stag's wound, but it did not drip to the ground. Instead, the dark red liquid crawled across Ethan's hand like living snakes. He screamed and tried to wipe it away. Too late. The blood spread across his skin. His bones began to crack, his spine twisted violently. His fingers stretched, nails growing into curved claws. His skin split as his body grew larger, taller. He felt pressure building inside his skull. Then came a sickening sound, crack. Something burst through his head. When Ethan woke, night had fallen, but he was no longer human. He stood more than 3 meters tall. His arms hung long and unnatural, claws nearly scraping the ground. From his skull grew enormous antlers. He stumbled toward the nearby stream and looked into the water. The reflection staring back at him was not a man. It was a skull, a deer's skull. Empty eye sockets stared back from the dark water. Then something changed. Inside those hollow sockets, two red lights slowly ignited. A smell filled the air. Blood? Meat. Human flesh. A hunger rose inside him unlike anything he had ever felt before. Not the hunger of a man, the hunger of a predator. That night, a young hunter named Daniel Carter entered the forest to check his traps. As he knelt beside a tree, tying a rope to a branch, he heard something behind him. Clop, clop, clop. Hoofs striking stone. Daniel turned. At first he saw only darkness between the trees. Then the shape stepped forward. A towering creature with a deer's skull for a head and antlers stretching into the branches above. Daniel never had time to scream. The monster lunged forward. One swipe of its claws tore through his chest. Blood sprayed across the leaves. Over the following nights, people began to disappear. Some were dragged out of their huts while they slept. Others went hunting and never returned. The tribe finally gathered 20 of their strongest warriors. Spears, axes, bows. They marched into the forest together. They found the creature in a wide clearing, crouched over the torn body of a deer. When it looked up, its red eyes burned in the darkness. The hunters fired their arrows, dozens of them. Several struck its chest. But the monster did not fall. It charged. Its speed was terrifying. One hunter barely raised his spear before the creature slammed into him. The impact threw the man backward, his ribs collapsing with a sickening crunch. Another warrior leapt forward with an axe and buried the blade in the creature's leg. The monster roared. The sound shook the trees. It grabbed the warrior by the throat and lifted him off the ground. Then it snapped his neck like a twig. The battle became chaos. Spears stabbed into the creature's body. Arrows pierced its flesh. But every wound it took was answered with another kill. One hunter jumped onto its back and tried to drive a knife into the base of its skull. The creature slammed itself against a tree. The man's body crumpled instantly. Finally, the tribe's elder shouted the command. Fall back. Lead it to the stones. The surviving hunters ran deeper into the forest. The creature chased them, its hooves striking the ground with thunderous force. Clop, clop, clop. They reached a circle of ancient standing stones. The moment the monster stepped inside, torches were lit and the ritual began. Flames erupted around the stone circle. The creature realized the trap and roared, slashing wildly. It tore one last hunter apart before the ground beneath it began to crack open. Light burst upward like pillars of fire. Chains of flame wrapped around its body. The monster struggled, shaking the stones themselves. But the ritual was complete. The earth swallowed it. Slowly, the creature was dragged into the darkness below. Just before it vanished completely, the skull tilted upward, and from its jaw came a dry, rasping whisper. I am still hungry. Even now, centuries later, people who wander too deep into ancient forests sometimes report hearing something strange at night. A distant sound, echoing between the trees. Clop, clop, clop.